Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Star vs. the Force of Evil, which we're getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by April Collins.
Hello.
Alex Bonilla.
Hello.
And Sam Quattro.
Hello.
We're back once more to talk Star vs. the Force of Evil Season 4, the April 14th episodes that aired this morning on the Disney Channel. The Night Shift, Queen Napped, Junkin, Janna, and A Spell with No Name. Find those on the Disney app or on the Disney or Disney XD. We talk Star every week. It's new here on the Overly Animated Podcast. Find us at overlyanimated.com. Search for us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes, or our YouTube is youtube.com/overlyanimated. Spoilers for this week of episodes. Also check out our previous season 4-star recap podcast. But let's get into these 4 episodes. April, what did you think?
Okay, I'm gonna start this by saying that I don't care for those episodes that are like inside the wand or whatever. And so I'm just gonna say that about that one because I don't find them that enjoyable. Also, the description of the episode was totally not what it ended up being. So
Yes.
I was very stuck on that through both of my watch throughs. So, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go totally in the most random order. Queen Napped was very frustrating because generally I like Ponyhead, but I just couldn't stand her this time around. Because what?
How dare you? Ponyhead.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, because I always feel like I'm the dark horse and no pun. But because I think Ponyhead's fun sometimes, but I was not into her this episode, and I was just you're really not helping. Why are you here? And then I guess it answered my question at the end of it, and I was like, okay, but that was a really annoying way to get to this. And
I think that's a good description of that episode.
So that's nice that you did what you set out to do, but I'm really annoyed at you right now. I think that's my general feelings for all of these episodes was I was generally annoyed. Not that they were bad episodes, it's just that things came up in them that I was okay, this is what we're gonna do, or this is the route we're gonna take, this is the final season. I was really annoyed that Star and Tom kept texting each other in Junkin, Janna, because I thought that was a really fun episode, because we're just playing with Janna and we're in a dump for whatever reason, and we're trying to go boot sledding, and I want to go boot sledding. That seems like a lot of fun, and Tom just won't get off of his phone, and then I was even more annoyed because he's like, I have to text Star all of this stuff because we're in a serious relationship. And I'm ooh, let's talk about your quote unquote serious relationship. So we can get into that
we'll
later.
We'll talk about it, yeah.
Yeah. And then the Night Shift, I did not like Marco at all in that episode. I think he is just super selfish, and at the end, what did he think was gonna happen whenever he set out to become a knight, and then all of a sudden, he's going back to Earth. When did we decide that? I guess, was that something that was established, at the beginning? At some point, whenever he first came to Muni? I don't, I'm oh, you can't just, he just decides to do these things and thinks that it's supposed to be okay. And, I think Star had a right to be upset, even though, we're, quote-unquote, not doing Starco anymore. But, all of those knights were totally justified at being upset with him. And I was yeah, I'm rooting for you guys. And then I got upset because Marco beat them all up. And I was wow, Marco, you're really just, you're top notch right now. So I liked the episodes, but I was overall annoyed. So.
Okay, some hot takes there, including Marco was unsympathetic. I feel that's usually the Alex take. Marco is unsympathetic in this episode. So we'll see if he also thought this. Alex, what do you think of these episodes?
First, I'd like to preface by saying last week I listened to your guys' podcast, and I think you guys were relatively negative on that group. And I just want to say, I thought that was actually an improvement in terms of the season. I really enjoyed that batch of episodes. And I think that it's because all those episodes did a little bit better in weaving characters and the story ideas that are actually somewhat important to where we are currently. And I think that this batch is continuing that streak of I don't think there are any episodes here that stand out like, oh, these are great episodes, but I think they're fine in terms in the context of the season. Like there are little moments in the night shift, especially at the end, that like stand out. I actually enjoyed the wand episode, but there are like specific moments that like stand out in my head to me of that episode. And even Junkin Janna, like I think that one does sort of well in like and giving you Tom's side of the relationship, since we've been focused so much on Star's side of things. So just like spending some time with Tom alone and seeing where he is at currently, like that's something useful to where we are currently in the character arcs. And so on the whole, I think that these are a fine batch of episodes. Even this is going to be very weird, but like April is annoyed with Ponyhead. But honestly, this is one of the better Ponyhead episodes because Ponyhead in this episode is more of like a person pulling the strings behind, as opposed to being front and center. Like she's on purpose trying to like sort of stay behind, but like still with her personality of needing to be noticed. So she's like having an internal conflict here. But because of that, because we actually like get more of Star and Marco hijinks intermixed with it all, and like the whole chasing Eclipsa back and forth. So I think that this is a good use of Ponyhead, where it's just enough like for her to like do annoying things to the characters, but not be sufficiently annoying to watch, because like we do switch off of her a couple of times in the episode. So I think that all these episodes are doing things well. They're not none of these are 11 minutes of perfection, but I think that this is more or less like the right path for this season, I think.
Okay, that's good. The right path for this season. Sam, what do you think?
I like these episodes as a group more than the previous weeks. I know that, Alex brought up that we were pretty negative, and I was like, well, why not give this week's more of a fighting chance in my brain? Night Shift, I thought that was playing with a lot of like interesting ideas. Marco doesn't want to be there forever, yada, yada, yada. The Ponyhead one, it was... It takes a lot for me to enjoy Ponyhead.
It's hard, right?
It's really hard. I felt like Janna...
I didn't really like her.
Janna has the right attitude about Ponyhead, in which I just like do not really jive. Which, let bygones be bygones. That's just how I feel about Ponyhead. Though I will say, it was interesting to have her be like the puppet master. Maybe she's going to be the ultimate villain of the show.
I think so. Yeah. I think that's true.
Series finale, Ponyhead. Yeah. Let's see, what else was there? Junkin Janna. I was expecting a little bit more, but I thought it was all right. It was dope. I feel that. Donuts not for everybody, especially good.
Okay, we'll talk donuts, yeah.
we'll get into the hot takes, Whole Foods on that one. Another one, I don't know why it had to have an A plot and a B plot. I guess to set up that Mina is the one generating all the magic and stuff. But I think like when you're an 11-minute episode, having an A plot and a B plot doesn't really work that well. You know what I mean? I feel like that works better in shows that are 22 minutes long, where you have the time to spare. But in Junkin Janna, we're just like, oh, Janna and Tom hanging out on a boot, fighting a crow, and then we have the political intrigue of the Magical High Commission and Eclipsa and Star, and it all comes to a head, and sure, why not? I really liked A Spell with No Name, because it answered my question that I brought up a couple podcasts ago. Where do star spells live nowadays? And they still live with the wand, apparently. I guess she just like grabs them from the wand through like magical interdimension-y stuff. I don't know. I really like that one a lot. I thought it was nice. They're calling Star's spells kids because like they're the youngest, even though they're like 40 and have kids and are married. I love it. Good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, you called that one, Sam. That we needed the spider with the top hat sequel to the sequel, right? It's third one.
Yeah, we needed to know. I'm glad, like, it's very rare that my dumb nitpicky questions get answered. So when they do, I appreciate
We're
it.
on the same page, yeah, with the show here. That's good. Yeah, I think this is, I mean, despite our tone last week, I did think last week's episodes were good. And I think in the end, I ended up calling 3 of them the best, for a certain character for each of them. So I think, we've been solid. And I think these are also solid episodes. My favorite is definitely the night shift, which I think is by far the standout one. It's the one that I'm most interested in. It's, I think just the best executed one. And I think there's like a lot to get into there. I don't think it's like a spectacular, top episode of the show or anything, but I love Star and Marco in it. And this is exactly what I've been looking for. More Higgs. Yeah, no, just kidding. But, more Star and Marco. And second favorite was A Spell with No Name. I really like the Spider with the Top Hat episodes. And I think this was I don't know if that's true historically. You can check the tapes on that. But, I did like this episode. I think it's interesting. And I think there's at least 2 interesting thematic through lines through these episodes. So I feel like we have some interesting things to talk about here on an overall level with the season. Kind of like Star and Marco's relationship and versus Tom and Star, and then also this Eclipsa magic thing, which has gotten into in Junkin and Janna, which I thought was a fine episode. It's they and the B. It's interesting. I think we need to do that so you can show them texting each other. We'll see if we thought it worked or what it contributed. And then there's Queen Napped, which was super annoying. That episode. I don't think it was that great. And it's like, okay, this is okay. We were like annoyed there's not a lot plot going on this season. And then it's like, oh, here's a plot episode. Eclipsa's kidnapped. Like, we've been building up to this. It's Mina, right? Nope. It's just stupid Ponyhead show follow-up episode. Okay. There you go. It was funny, I guess, at the end, but, I think we're starting to get there to like what the season is saying. It's just taking a long time, which is why we're frustrated. But I do think now that we're getting there, there's some interesting things to get into. I guess let's do the Star and Marco, the relationshipy side of stuff first with, the night shift and half of Queen Napped, I would say, or half of Junkin and Janna, is kind of what we're getting into here, because the night shift is, I think, making another attempt to double down on the conclusion of the Blood Moon episode recently, where it's like, okay, we're just friends now, Star and Marco. And, this is kind of the sequel to the night episode from last season, which I guess was the plot thread that was still going in the background. And Marco's, leaving Muni eventually. They're gonna return to their lives, Star and Marco. They promise to always be friends at the end. They give each other these capes. We have this scene on the rooftop at the end of this episode, just a very Starco thing, like reminded me of Star and Marco on a rooftop in season 1. Like it's all the Starco themes I feel like are here, but they're like all through the lens of friendship. At least that's what the characters are saying, and that's like what they're saying to. That's where they're moving towards too. So it's like we're moving in this direction. Star and Tom still together, and that's what they think they're doing. I guess the question is like, where are we in terms of where the show is going with this plot line? Are we on the we try to convince us that they're just going to be friends, but then they're still doing Starco at the end? Like April, did this episode shift your thought on what the show is doing with this plot line at all?
I don't know what they're doing anymore. Because I feel like they're trying to make it like this super effort to like turn the turn the other cheek, and like they're like, we're not doing Starco, you guys, like they're gonna be friends, like all of this. But then then they have like Star getting really upset because Marco has said that he's gonna go back to Earth. Like, okay, well, I mean, I guess like you're upset, but do you also have any right to be upset because you're just friends? Like, he wasn't gonna be your squire. And she even says like, oh, well, I only made him my squire so we could hang out and do stuff and go on adventures. And so in a way, like, that's kind of selfish. But then she has like a very like mature moment where she's like, oh, I'm just overreacting, which she was. And so, but like, if you're gonna like address that and say things like that, then does that mean that you're over Marco? Like, because the other thing that really gets me is at the end of the episode when they're sitting next to each other and they show their backs, their little gemstones on their capes formed a heart. Yeah. And I and I let out a very audible And I don't know if it was
It's an interesting sound.
It was a very interesting sound, and I don't know if it came from like a place of happiness or a place of like frustration, because like, okay, we're not bound together anymore because of the blood moon, but yeah, I'm gonna get upset because you're gonna decide to go to Earth, which to be fair, Marco has every right to want to go back to Earth. Like, he basically came to Muni for Star, or at least that's the impression that they gave us. And then now that he's no longer bound to Star by the blood moon, like, okay, why is he staying here then? He clearly doesn't want to be a knight. Apparently, he wants to go to college and do who knows what. But it also, like, kind of asks this question, is Marco ever going to be satisfied in his own life now? Because like, he came to Muni because he was unhappy with like his life on Earth, and so now he's in Muni and he's doing what he like set out to do, and he's fulfilling that, and he's like, yeah, but like, I don't want to do this. I want to go back to Earth and I want to go to college. So like, you can't have it both ways, I guess. And I feel like that's going to be like the biggest deterrent for like Starco.
Yeah, this episode brings up logistical problems with Starco that I didn't know we were going to get into, right?
Yeah.
Going to be in different dimensions.
It brings up the difficulty, like, for Kelko too. Like,
that's true. Tom Star also. I mean, I guess they're both on Muni, but
Tomko,
Tomko, yeah.
Marco's not going to be with anybody.
No, Marco can't be with it. Yeah, no, we're getting a Tomko episode. We're very excited. Okay. Yeah, Alex. So you, not the biggest Starco person. I'm interested where your head's at with what the season's doing with Starco, especially after this week of episodes.
Right. Now, when we talked about Blood Moon, I think I said something along the lines of, I'm pretty sure they're going to keep going with Starco, but I'd be very impressed if they stick to, hey, it's okay to just be friends. Like, I think that this episode is still on a similar path where I'm not buying that the show isn't going to resist the temptation to just make them romantic at the end. But like in where we are at the show right now, they're focusing on friendship, and I think that's cute. Like, the line of Marco at the end of the lifelong post is our friendship. Like, that's like so beautiful. But then you have the show also doing their capes making a heart in the back, and it's like, okay, we're not totally quitting this, right? So I and also as April mentioned, like, Star has like a mature moment there where she's like, wait, I'm overreacting. Like, he's his own person. He should be able to make his own decisions, sort of thing. So, and that's like a good step to take in a friendship. And Marco mentions that like he's gonna be able to visit. He has scissors. Like, we always the show often forgets that he has scissors, but he has scissors, so he could just show up whenever he has like free time and just. But like, because they're like such close friends, Star is initially overreacting. It's like, well, I want to spend all my time with my best friend, and that's a kid thing to think about. But and so it hurts when she like has to face the reality, and this is continuing Star's thing of trying to avoid thoughts that are like troubling. She kind of like pushes them away as much as she for as long as she can until she's confronted with it head on. And then you have Marco, who has always had an issue with committing to things or like defining relationships. With just when he was with Jackie, we saw this issue going on with Kelly. He's just now getting to like being breakup buddies, but like still not really dealing with that. And I am a little interested to see if it ever gets to boyfriend girlfriend, and the obviously the Starco tension. And now here also with the Knights, like once he gets to like, oh, this is a lifetime thing, then it's like, okay, wait, hold on. So I think that this all is just a part of Marco's personality, where once he's confronted with something that he knows it's going to last a long time, but he's unsure that he's going to go through with it, his instinct is to run away. Even with like the joke of Marco sending the Knights into the other dimension, and like they never come back because they love it. But Marco is strong enough to always come back, but maybe it's not even strength. It's just he doesn't like being in the same place for too long. So I think that both personality flaws of Star and Marco are represented here, and it makes sense in them like trying to figure out what their relationship is today.
Okay. So digging into their characters and their friendship while still on the same trajectory. I think that's a good analysis here. Sam, yay or nay, Starco still happening?
Yay. All right, I'm going to be real with you, Chief. I don't have any more commentary on Starco at this point in time. It's
Nice.
just like
That's valid. It's if Night Shift did not change your perspective, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, it didn't. Like it's still going to happen. It's just continuing the parade of fake outs and I don't have any more commentary. It's just yes, it's still going to happen. Call me when they actually get together.
Okay, we'll do. It's the May 19th. That's the date.
Yeah, so in a month it'll happen.
Yeah,
so,
even if the finale ended with them just hugging and there's no romance, Tom and Star are still together, Kelly and Marco
that would be not a Starco
would we assume that Starco is still going to happen?
No, that's not a Starco ending. They need to get together and kiss. They need to say their feelings for each other.
I mean, technically they've already kissed. So.
Yeah, and they've already said their feelings.
And they've already said their feelings for each other. So
okay, they need to meet again.
In theory, we've already done Starco.
Call me when they go on a date.
Yeah, date.
That'll never happen.
Boyfriend,
I'll miss you, Sam.
That's what we thought this season could have been them dating, but no. So
well.
Yeah, I generally agree. This is the same thing that we're doing in Blood Moon, but it's the most interesting thing to me is that we're kind of doubling down on the friends thing. I thought we'd start to move back, but I think this episode is them moving back while still exploring the things that you get from them just thinking of each other as friends. So I think there's a lot of that, and you guys got into it. I think there's a lot of meat that they're exploring here, which is justifying maybe what we're doing with them, but I still don't think, it's going to sustain for 5 more weeks, right? So I'm still skeptical, although this is a mark in the favor of what the show's trying to do. I think the Night Shift was a good exploration of them in their current state.
I think it should also be noted that I feel like this episode is the most mature Starco has almost kind of been, because they, even though they're kind of freaking out by themselves, they continue to say I should go talk to Star, or I should be talking to Marco, and then they sort of make that effort to go do that, which is more than they've ever done. I mean, outside of booth buddies, and even just a little bit of Blood Moon, but the fact that you're hey, I have these feelings and I feel some type of way, whether it's romantic, friendship, whatever, you're making a cognitive decision to go talk to the person that's also involved in that, versus the entire show we've just been avoiding, we notoriously we have our Marco, we Marco it up, or we avoid making it awkward, in the words of both of them. So and then even at the end, they talk about it and they come to a place of understanding. So congrats to them for having an actual mature relationship, whether that be in the direction of romance or friendship or whatever.
I agree. I think this is them being mature. I think they talk about how what's happening makes them feel. They give each other gifts. That's a mature thing, right? And then they're just communicating at the end. Right?
It's well, they're just sort of saying hey, what I took Marco giving Star the cape as was that hey, I'm acknowledging that our time together has meant something, and that it means a lot to me, and so this is my way of sort of commemorating that with you. So, because he didn't need to give her a cape, but he did, and that was very nice of him.
They both gave each other capes. It's because they love each other, April. That's
why.
Oh. That's...
Love can take many different forms.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be.
It's all blended together. It's okay. But no, I think this episode is them genuinely kind of not thinking of each other romantically, which is shocking. This is one of the first times I feel like we've had this in seasons. That both of them not really viewing each other romantically. You could argue there's elements to that, to the gift giving, to their hug, to all of that. Like, like, I think genuinely they're convinced that the blood moon's resolved, that they moved on. And so I think that's kind of what's notable about this is we've been in the state of one of them likes the other and hasn't told them, or they did tell and now their feelings. So we've just done that for the past season and a half or more. And now we're kind of beyond that. And it's like, okay, now they are genuinely connecting with each other on a real level, and they've gotten past these feelings, which are just like telling each other and reacting to each other is honestly like it's almost like a distraction to what their connection. So it's like they've gotten past these teenage angsty parts to it, and now we can actually move on to building their bond and culminating them romantically now that they're past all the drama. I feel like is kind of what the show's getting at here. And I'm convinced for now. So I think this is good. It was a really gorgeous scene at the end of this episode with them watching the sunset. And,
I think you mentioned that it was reminiscent of like a season 1 scene. And also this chemistry is sort of reminiscent of season 1 before romantic tension set in, that they were able to have these kind of conversations about life in general. And like that kind of went away for a while as the tension set in. But like, even if it's for a couple of episodes, it's nice to like see them just, talk normally again.
Yeah, well, I think even when they get together, hopefully that's what'll happen now that they're past the awkwardness of their feelings and any angst that came from that. Even if it's romantic, they'll be able to talk normally, right? And I mean, that's, you would hope so if people in a relationship will be normal with each other. And, just these two are just been screwing it up for a while. So, I think this is a very good direction for them. It does feel very season 1, and that was really nice because, that's when we all started, loving the two of them together because it wasn't even any feelings that they had. It was just their connection as friends and just two people, doesn't need to have been romantic, just grew that way. But yeah, I feel like we're resetting it in order to build it up again. Is I guess the conclusion here with Starco. And that's what we're expecting, I feel like, and we have, 5 weeks left to do it, so we'll see how the show continues to approach it here, and we'll get into the Tom side of this in a second. But yeah, the rest of Night Shift, the scene at the end with the capes, and we mentioned the line of if there's any lifelong post to accept on Muni, it's our friendship, and Star.
Wow,
Marco,
that's so
I love
cheesy.
It was they're cheesy people. It's great.
Someone get the noodles.
God.
Yeah, so Star loved the gift, and that scene was really gorgeous. Made that the screen cap for sure. We also have them hugging in the beginning after the knighting ceremony, and Star giving Marco the cape. And but I think this episode's very funny. By the way, I think that's the reason why it's the best of the week for me. I love the Sir Cuddles' mom knighting in the beginning,
crying because she thinks he's gonna be beheaded.
Yeah, that's definitely the show's brand of humor, but I thought it was successful. Like it's like don't you're gonna cut his head off right in front of his mom. Yeah.
Also enjoyed whenever Higgs comes out of the Neverland or whatever, and she's just like, "What? Where are my muscles?" And he's like, "I tried to tell you," and she's just like, "I have nothing here," and just goes right back.
There's nothing for me here now. Yeah, so Higgs is back. Higgs is back. Yeah, the name confusing because she's been in one episode. No, there's the most popular one episode character I think of all time.
Really?
Everyone loves Higgs. That's a real ship, Higgs and Marco. It was.
It was for a brief period of time.
That's when we thought she'd be a recurring character, but she was not. Now she's back, and she was glorious, I think, in this episode. Lady Higgs. And yeah, she does the portal thing. And that's really all she gets to do. She talks for like 10 seconds. But it was great. So I'm glad we got Higgs back. All the other night characters as well. I guess Sir Stabby was a person in that episode. I don't remember. But yeah, we also knighting called Marco Princess Turdina when he
Marco Diaz, also known as Princess Turdina, and then Star also includes Turdina on the cave.
Yeah, that's great. Will we do anything with this is also something I'm watching the rest of the season. What are we doing with Princess Turdina? Is that going to culminate somehow? So I'm interested in that.
Maybe the money will run out.
Maybe the money will.
No more allowance. Yeah. Okay. Well, we do that gag 10 more times, yes. Okay, but didn't expect Mr. Candle to be back this episode.
Excuse me, Sir Crandall.
Yes, thank you.
This episode just jams a bunch of stuff that we love into it. But yeah, Mr. Candle from the iconic Starco episode in season 2 is great, where we say the name Starco. And he's just there, and we don't really explain it. So there you go.
I think it's funny that he's in like the exact same role that Mr. Candle was in.
Yeah. That's why we brought him back, yeah.
We're back in the same office, just with different posters. Still have the cat.
Yeah. It's good. It makes me want to rewatch his first episode for sure. But I guess that's good. We don't explain it. That's fine. And then the main thing is Marco's wanting to not be a knight forever. He can't stay on Muni. So this is something that makes sense to address, considering Marco just moved to Muni in season 3 randomly. So Marco's plans on going back.
He brings up his baby brother, despite it not coming up at all since Marco Jr.
It's an important plot line in the show. I mean, that's what the season is doing. It's random. Higgs too. Like, we just randomly bringing up things that happened once last season.
Well, no, it's because it's the final season, so we have to like run through everything in its finality. Like, we have to see all of the long lost characters. So we shouldn't be surprised if we see Alfonso. I guess we kind of said bye to them.
Yeah. Jackie, will Jackie be back, April? You have to tell me. Will Jackie?
She'll
be
in the finale.
She'll be in the
finale.
She'll be in a Marco nightmare sequence where he goes through all his past failings at relationships, and
there's gonna be some other type of like social function, and Janna's gonna show up with Jackie. Like, that would be amazing, because Janna just apparently lives in Muni now. So
yep, that's not commented on either. I agree. This what the show's going to do is it's going to do the goodbye to blank thing that shows do in their final seasons, is they have finale episodes for every single plot element. And I kind of don't like it, but this was a good. I guess if this is our bringing back a lot of elements, that's fine. This was a good example of it. And anything else from this episode? Yeah, Marco. I like Marco threatening to Mr. Stabby before he burns the Star's cape. I think that was good. And then Marco talking about the Never Zone a lot. But yeah, and the only other thing is like Star and Marco's like talking to the statue guy and going like to a lot
Why haven't they moved that yet? And also, how is that oatmeal not gone bad?
It's magic oatmeal.
Yeah, it's just magic. Yeah. But yeah, them like talking through their how the situation's making them feel. I thought that was pretty notable, and like Star being like really awkward too.
She uses the classic "someone's calling me" trick.
Yeah. It was very believable. I believe that. Okay. That's good for the night shift. I want to get into Junkin and Janna for the Tom side of things here, because I feel like that's what we're also exploring with the romance part of the show here. With this is a dig into Star and Tom's relationship, where they're separated and so they're just texting each other all the time. Tom says he doesn't know what to do with himself when Star's at one of her meetings. That's what it's like being in a serious relationship, he says.
Is it?
Okay.
You don't agree, April?
No, I don't think. I think it's very unhealthy if you feel that you need to constantly be in contact with your significant other. Like for instance, me and my husband, we do not text like hardly ever. I mean, we do, but not a lot. And usually it's just like, hey, are you going to be home at this time? Yeah. Okay, cool. Like, never, like, there's no constant communication. I mean, like, I sometimes will only see him like 2 days out of a week. So like, I don't know. It just seems really, really unhealthy that you have to like constantly be talking. And generally that comes from a place of insecurity. If you feel like you have to constantly like be in contact with the other person, which would make sense considering like Star kissed Marco and everything like that. So I would understand if it was very like one-sided, where Tom was like, I have to constantly like text Star. And then, like, which was why, like, it was kind of interesting that we were seeing both sides of it, and we had the B plot or whatever. But it would have been more interesting if Star had been, like, extremely frustrated or something, like, why is Tom constantly texting me? But no, she's, like, reciprocating that. And so I don't think it's going to go well for them.
So you think they're too all over each other? basically.
Yes.
With the texting. And
Well, because like how do you expect to properly communicate if you're constantly talking? So, and I think there's a difference between like just talking to a person and then actually communicating with them. So there's probably something like, it would not surprise me if at some point in time Tom brings up like Star and Marco again, because like it just seems like there's a lot of insecurity in that relationship. Plus, he's also brought it up multiple times, and Star like never brings it up. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point that even though they're talking all the time, they're not like necessarily talking about things of substance. They're really just taking selfies and stuff.
Yeah,
that's what the episode presents. Yeah. Yeah, Sam, how are you feeling the Tom Star when they're texting each other in this episode?
It's just like annoying, man. It's like, all right, not like annoying, like, oh, I don't want to see this. It's like, you know, you feel like a third wheel, even though you're watching a show and you're like supposed to be invested in it. And I felt like Jen. I was like, you know what, dude? If you really want to like be here with me, get off your phone. You know, I'm not a distraction, even though I'm watching you. I don't know. It was whatever. And then his phone broke, so that's the end of that.
Okay, yeah, it's. I like that the audience was the third wheel to.
I did. I felt like third wheel. It's like, oh my god, like that's not typically how I feel when I'm watching, like, you know, a pairing that I don't particularly like. But at this point in time, I really felt like I was in the shoes of somebody who was like interacting with them, and like we were all getting dinner together, but they were like sitting next to each other, and I'm across from them from the table. And they're like all like making out, and I'm just like waiting for my spaghetti to come.
Spaghetti, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's what people order at restaurants, right?
Yeah, spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah, restaurant. I've been to a restaurant before. I order spaghetti all the time.
Okay, that's good to know. Well,
even if I'm not at a place where it has.
Most places have spaghetti, probably.
Spaghetti
I don't know about that.
Dude, let's get into that more. The Mexican restaurant, there's spaghetti there, yes?
No.
No.
Okay.
A burger bar. Is there spaghetti there? No.
Anywhere that's like a dinerish place, you know, anything adjacent to that.
Dude, I've never heard of a diner having spaghetti.
There's spaghetti.
If they do, it's buried in the menu, like where nobody ever orders from.
Diners have everything. Yeah. Okay. I thought we were going to talk about donuts, not spaghetti. That's what we're doing.
Well,
we'll get to that.
Okay. Alex, are you feeling Star and Tom's relationship as it was presented in this episode?
Well, what I'm feeling is that Janna calls out Tom correctly in saying, like, hey, you need to, like, learn to be your own person, sort of thing. I think it's gotten to the along the lines of insecurity. It's gotten to the point where Tom is beginning to define himself by the idea of being in a relationship, and that's kind of like occupying his entire mindset. And so when he is alone, he says, like, I don't know what to do with myself. So like it's literally like that's the only thing on his mind right now, and that's not a healthy way to live life. Like, you gotta have other relationships, other friendships going on. And so I like Janna a lot in this episode because she's speaking the truth. Tom needs to expand his horizons, and I don't know if he'll be able to do that within this relationship, because as we see, Star kind of feeds into it a little bit with, like, you know, like acting in kind, and then later. Well, like late at the very end, the interesting part of the Tom Star relationship in this episode is at the end, Star is like, "Hey, you did a thing on your own. That makes you more attractive." And Tom is like, "Yeah, I did," and he pops his collar. So, but like, it feels more like he's taking credit for something just to like get points with Star, rather than like actually feeling that he like accomplished something in his life. You know, like it's all rotating around Star, and that is going to come to a head soon, but I don't know when.
Yeah, so I think the main thing is that if we're talking about Starco, it's like, okay, they staying friends. Well, if Tom Star was being presented as like this really healthy, great relationship, maybe we would keep doing that. But clearly, I think Junkin and Janna is none of us are feeling them in this episode, so it's not like Star's going to be staying here. I think throughout the end of the show, like, this is very purposeful showing of Tom Star, that it's like not necessarily great for either of them, particularly Tom. I think the Tom thing would have been more successful had we seen ever Tom with anyone else in the show. Like, we don't know what Tom, I think we commented on this recently. Like, what does Tom even do other than be with Star? And I think that's what this episode is saying. But it's like, you know, Tom, they weren't together for part of the show. Tom was doing something, but to us, it's the same thing. So
he was dealing with anger management. Yeah, so I'm kind of scared that. Like, I don't think this is what the show is doing, but I'm kind of scared that the message here is if you're not in a relationship, then you have no control over your emotions, sort of thing. Like him dealing with his anger coincides with him getting into a relationship with Star, and I don't know what's going to happen when they break up. Hopefully, the idea is that the show has made Tom sort of mature enough to handle it the second time around. But I'm just a little scared at like the message of like being in a relationship versus being out of a relationship.
Yeah, I think the thing is that he's mature enough now that he'll handle it better. Yeah. But it is true. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the main thing for me. It's like, I just haven't seen enough of Tom for this to have too much of an impact. But it is interesting to see the Star side of this. Like, she's just, texting him back as much and just distracted by talking to Tom, because we don't get too much of that.
Let's say the specific thing of texting a lot with your significant other is not necessarily a bad thing. It's more like when like you're admitting that like you don't know what to do with yourself when your significant other is not around, and you are distancing yourself from other people you could have connections with for the sake of keeping your one relationship.
Yeah, Tom's, I don't know what to do with myself when I'm not at one of Star's meetings. That's not healthy. Yeah, that's not good.
It's really not. At least, like, we've seen Star, I guess, do things without, like, being tied to her phone or whatever. But then it begs me to wonder, like, okay, what was, like, Tom doing whenever Star was, like, having a freak out because Marco's going to Muni? Like, not specifically about that, but just because, like, she wasn't, like, on her phone constantly texting Tom. And I guess it technically took place at night, so he was asleep. But, like, I don't know. I've seen, like, some really bad, like, relationships where people were just constantly texting each other, and then, like, they're fighting all the time. And I guess we haven't really seen, like, Star and Tom fight since, like, the whole blood moon thing. But, like, it's kind of one of those things, like, okay, like, I think that would be interesting to watch, just to see, like, the next fight that they have. Like, what is it about? Is it about something, like, legitimate, or is it about something petty?
That's a good point. Yeah, they at least they're happy with each other right now, but how will they respond when something is not happy comes up, as inevitable?
Yeah.
Because Lava Lake Beach was like the most recent incident where like it gets close, but then like we kind of get distracted by the whole storm thing. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next week is it next week or the week after Beach Day? So looking forward to that. See how Tom reacts to that. Yeah. 2 weeks. Okay. The other parts is Janna and Tom. This was our big Janna Tom shipping episode, as we talked about last week. That's a hot ship. So here they are together. Our answer, Sam's prayers have been answered with Janna and Tom appearing together in an episode.
Were they?
But was it disappointing that Tom was distracted the entire time? Yeah.
I didn't feel the chemistry at all. I don't know what anybody's talking about. Just because Janna has an interest in demons and the occult doesn't mean that Tom is like her dream man, you know?
He checks one box. He is a demon. He's he's an underworld person.
He's very boring for a demon.
That's a good point.
I appreciate that Janna invited him along to go boot sledding, even if she did at the heart of it want him there in case the crow showed up.
She just wanted him to blast this bird. I guess is this what Janna's just doing on Muni? Like what?
She's just hanging out in dumps, like going boot sledding. Why not?
Yeah.
It's summer vacation. Spend it how you want.
Yeah, Sam, as a Janna fan, were you satisfied with knowing what Janna's been up to in this episode?
Yes.
I don't know. It's very Janna-like.
Yeah, it's very random and like, I'm cool. I'm boot sled. Like, whatever, no. Janna. I mean, my hopes for a deep Janna character episode are just dashed.
I think this would be it, if anything, right? Like,
Janna is just a cool girl, and she does what she wants. once.
Yeah. Are we giving Janna a girlfriend, Sam? Is that happening?
No, that's not gonna happen.
Okay.
Maybe in the screenshot of like the finale, it'll be like a cute demon girl like walks by and she's like, "Oh," and then
that's it. That's the extent. Yeah. Okay. That'd be good ending for Janna. Yeah. Yeah. Alex, any Janna takes from this episode?
I have 3 Jan Tom moments here. So first of all,
are you a big Jan Tom shipper?
So first of all, Janna is falling from the boot, and Tom uses his rocket fire boots to go up and lift her in her arms like a Superman Lois Lane style. So that's one. That's more Tom towards Janna.
Yeah,
Second, Tom.
Him for that.
yeah. So Janna so far has nothing. Then second of all, Janna is about to be pecked stabbed by the giant crow, and Tom steps in, sacrifices his phone with Star's picture on it to save Janna. So that's also a Tom towards Janna moment of hey,
things to come.
Yeah. So it's hey, my phone is no longer important. You're more important. And then finally, this is lesser, but Janna, when Tom is hey, I'm cool, I'll pop my car, and Janna's ew, don't do that. But that's the first time that it feels a little bit more her being just trolling him a little bit like she would to Marco. So it's kind of a small step up in their relationship there. So there you go. Those are all the Jan Tom moments in this episode.
Okay, Alex is really feeling
wow,
it.
where's the fanfic, Alex?
I'm sure it's existed since season 2.
No, you gotta write it. You gotta write this fanfic.
No, thank you.
You can't.
What?
Dude, that is a classic forum thing. They come up with lists of shipping moments. You have to write fanfiction.
I know. I think that Alex ships it. I don't even have to ask whether he ships it. I know now. The phone.
It's preferable to Tom Star.
Okay, yeah, that we could probably all agree. The phone thing, that's the symbolic, Tom was distracted by talking to Star the whole time. But
right, and if it had just been that, then I think the episode would have improved, because that feels like a moment of okay, now I'm not distracted anymore. But then it gets kind of unraveled by his interaction with Star at the end of the episode.
Yeah, I mean,
dude,
maybe this is
okay,
just
I'm
step
gonna.
one.
You sacrifice your phone to save a human life. That's not a big deal. I mean,
Sam, that's romantic. What are you talking about?
No, it's not romantic.
It's very romantic.
Being a good person, to be attentive to the person that you're physically with if they're in physical harm.
Sam, don't you know that whenever you save someone's life, it's a romantic shipping moment?
Wow, that must explain why I don't have any romance in my life.
That's what AO3 has taught me. Okay, that's how it works.
So,
okay. So we'll see if we get the Janna Tom follow-up episode. We won't. Okay, the Star and Eclipse are visiting the High Commission part of this episode, and basically the important thing is that let's talk about the donuts first, and then we'll get into the magic.
Those donuts were disgusting, man. How do you ruin a donut? How is that
it's
possible?
It's gluten-free and dairy-free and everything free. So.
Apparently they're just vegan donuts.
But no, you listed a bunch of stuff,
vegan donuts taste better than those look.
I don't know. Here's my hot take on cold foods. Donuts.
Talk to us about donuts.
Let's see. So, I like donuts in moderation, of course. That's sweets. They're good in moderation. Sure. My favorite is probably the Dunkin' Donuts blueberry donut.
Blueberry?
In terms of the commercial donuts that you can get. It's like a blueberry muffin, but a donut. It's wonderful.
It's a cake donut.
Yeah.
Okay.
It tastes very good, and in terms of cheap donuts, that's what I would go to. Federal Donuts in Philadelphia, that's a great donut place. I like their donuts. Krispy Kreme, I'm not so hot on. I don't really like Krispy Kreme. What do they have? They just have glazed donuts.
But they're warm glazed donuts. That's great.
Sure.
It's
all
donut
about the
takes?
temperature. That really makes a difference. I would just want to say I'm very annoyed with Dunkin' Donuts because they discontinued the Bavarian cream variety, and that was my favorite donut from there. And that was the only reason I would go to a Dunkin' Donuts, because they were the only place that sold it consistently. But now I don't know any place that sells Bavarian cream donuts.
Oh no, I might have to boycott Dunkin'.
Yeah, now they're just Dunkin'. They're not even Dunkin' Donuts anymore. They're just Dunkin'.
I mean, they have
great coffee, okay?
Good coffee.
Sure, but you're allowed to sell other things while being called what the food you're known for.
They also have good
confusing.
breakfast sandwiches.
Okay.
Like, is Burger King ever going to change to just Food King because they now sell salads? No.
Yeah, I think it is Food King now. Okay.
This is about as upsetting as Chick-fil-A selling fish.
Oh my god.
Okay, there's the donuts
What
with
about you,
Sean.
Dylan?
I liked chocolate donuts.
Well, so how do you
There
feel
you
about
go.
the representation of vegan donuts being disgusting in this episode?
Well, I was initially offended, but first of all, I eat donuts, but it was a joke about it was everything, so whatever. He kept listing things, right?
Yeah, no
You
molasses.
gotta give Sean credit for trying because
No,
he
I
knew-
don't. He should have
he
the
knew
visual
Eclipsa.
sense
It's
to know
Alex,
that
it's
those
his
are
family.
bad.
It's his family recipe. Well, you're just hating on his family history.
He did
Yeah.
it poorly. If that's, I'm pretty sure that Sean just didn't follow the recipe.
Oh, so
right.
your
It's
headcanon is that his family recipe it's really good.
It's
and he just
probably a
screwed it up.
fine donut because it's really hard to mess up a donut.
So
if-
Sean's just a big screw up. Okay.
What if-
Yes, and that fits with the rest of him.
What if the donuts weren't actually gluten-free and that's why Eclipsa got sick?
Mm.
He just
so
said
it's
they
not
were
'cause they're
gluten-free.
bad. Yeah, that's true. He's just trying to
Although
get them to try it.
Tom later eats donuts and he's like, "Ooh, gluten free." So like he seems to know that it's gluten free.
Tom's not smart.
Can you taste if things are gluten free?
No, I don't. You need to have it identified. I'm pretty sure. So I don't. Tom just has the third eye sense from its demon powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The plot part of this is here's my conclusion. Tell me if you guys agree or disagree. I think the High Commission is accusing Eclipsa basically of using unregulated magic here.
Oh, yeah, that was something that came up.
Yeah.
That seems about right.
Yeah. It's a little unclear, but that seems to be what they're saying. Someone in the Monster Temple is using magic that hasn't been used in a while. I thought they were insinuating that it's Eclipsa, but yeah.
But the other thing, too, I guess that was kind of annoying about this is because they were like, oh, like, there's someone using magic that hasn't been used for centuries. And I'm like, okay, well, Eclipsa's been, like, frozen or crystallized for centuries. So, yeah, she would be using her regular magic, which, again, hasn't been used in centuries. So that makes sense. Like, right? But no one said that, which was, I don't know, like, that was kind of bothersome to me that no one
They
was
seem
just
to be
like,
just annoyed that she exists now again.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. Or it could be there's another person in the castle using. I guess like Eclipsa's unregulated. It would be a big deal if Eclipsa returned to her dark magic, but like maybe everyone thought she's just using normal magic. But yeah, this seems to be like brings me. I see a connection between a spell with no name and then to this episode with like, okay, Eclipse is using weird magic. So then we could talk about that episode, but also at the end of this episode, this bird that had been attacking them is Mina's bird Sebastian, and is collecting giant armor.
Wow.
Yep, for
Yep.
Mina, presumably.
Is Star gonna turn into Genlock, but with giant night robots?
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah, we can only hope. That would be great.
I feel like I need to watch Unlock because it keeps coming up, and I'm just like, yeah.
It all just means giant robots. That's really the only reference.
Oh my
that-
god, there's been giant robots since like the beginning of time.
But these
people.
were good giant robots, so that's why it would be an insult to be like, "Oh, is this gonna be like Transformers?" Because I don't care.
Don't get it. You can get Andy mad.
Would it
Get
be
Justin
like
mad.
Iron Giant?
yeah,
Yeah, it's the Iron Giants.
Is it gonna
Yeah, so-
be like a castle in the sky?
Is that your Alex impression?
That's my. I don't know. I don't
Give
mean
us your
any
Alice
offense.
impression.
I don't. No, I'm not gonna make an Alex impression.
Okay.
That was my general like internet dude impression.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. Cool. Yeah. So Mina, the plotline of Mina going after Eclipsa is continuing here, and she is preparing for, I assume, next week's coronation is what we're going to do. Next week, half-hour coronation episode for Eclipsa to become queen, even though she's already queen. So Mina would attack her then, is my guess. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Wow.
Unless they decide to drag it out to the finale.
Mm.
So
No, only
is Mina
Starco.
our new big bad? Like,
So
I-
far.
Yes, but it's gonna
No.
happen soon, right? So then it's like we haven't heard from Moon. We're putting Moon off in the human opposition, right? So maybe that's a final conflict here.
I think that might be like my other, because again, I liked these episodes, but I think that might be my other issue is that I'm like, okay, I still don't know what our big bad is in
Yeah,
order.
this has been a recurring complaint, I think, with the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like maybe.
Yeah. All right, let's quickly go through a spell with no name, because I do think it connects to Eclipsa's magic here.
Just quickly, can you remind me, did we know that the crow could magically transform before this, or no? So is this a new addition?
I didn't even remember Mina having a bird. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think she had it. Yeah, because in the moon episode there was a crow. Yeah.
I remember her having the birds with the berry episode.
Yeah, it might have just been from then. Okay, yeah. If it was just from then, it wouldn't.
But I forgot it. Clearly,
I bring this up because there's a small possibility that Mina has discovered some kind of magic to enhance other beings, and that could be a way we go. Like, in addition to this giant robot knight, she's also going to have like an army of animals. I don't know.
Fantastic. Okay.
If she's harnessed this edition.
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, so we'll have Mina and a bunch of crows. That might happen. Okay, so we'll see what's happening.
Do you remember in Adventure Time when there was Maja, the Sky Witch, and she had like that crabbit? This is kind of like that.
Okay.
Kinda, yeah.
Mina's a lesser Maja.
Yep, that's Sam's take on Star. It's Adventure Time, except not.
It is. Well, when we mentioned the final season doing goodbyes to a bunch of plotlines, I was thinking of Adventure Time. So I think some similarities. Okay, a spell with no name. Yeah, the spider with the top hat episode, but we're focusing on Richard the Narwhal instead of Sam, wow, are you a big Richard the Narwhal fan?
Yeah, he has an eye patch and he has like children and stuff. It's great.
He's very much a dad.
He is a dad.
So you have the Narwhal dad bod? Is that a thing?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
I don't know. Honestly, they didn't show any other narwhals, so I kind of forgot if they were muscular or not versus the unicorns.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think this episode benefits from focusing on the narwhal instead of Spider with the top hat, because like
Spider's
it's
fantastic
the same,
though.
Well, sure, but we had 2 episodes with him already, so I think that if it had focused again on Spider, this would have been a much weaker episode. But because it uses Richard instead as our like linchpin, so like that keeps us in the same atmosphere, but like dealing with totally different character dynamics, and that made this episode a lot more interesting than I would have expected. If you told me we're going to have another Inside the Wand episode, I'd be like, okay, sure, but it's a different character, so that's good.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision. So he's Richard, and we learn a few things that we see Eclipsa spells, and which I think makes sense. We're focusing on since Eclipse has taken over the wand, and we learn that each, I guess, like queen has their own room in this spell dimension.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool. So that's explaining where Eclipse has the wand, so she gets her room of spells. I guess there's already there, but Star spells are still there in Star's spell room. And we're focusing on this powerful spell that doesn't have a name. That Eclipse it can just instantly kill anything. It's one of Eclipse's spells here, and at the end we trap it, and Narwhal uses echolocation to see it, and gets it into the jar, and is very heroic. But also pancakes in the beginning was the other one.
Hot take, cold foods, pancakes. I don't really like them that much. I think they're overrated.
I was upset because I missed getting pancakes today, so I can make sure I watched the episode.
And then you saw pancakes in the episode?
And then I was even more upset.
Wow, pancakes are great. I disagree with this take, Sam.
This is probably not as hot of a take, but I will say drenching your pancakes in syrup is disgusting. Like, calm down.
That makes it better.
No, no, that's the wrong way to eat pancakes.
God, you just want like a dry thing then?
I want some butter. I want some syrup. I don't need it to be like dripping wet.
Okay.
I prefer waffles to pancakes.
To be soaked in syrup, like a good layer is fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying that unicorn horse was going a little bit overboard.
Yes,
I mean, he emptied out an entire container. Who does that?
People, I think there are people in real life who do that, and I judge them.
Exaggeration of really favorite. Pancakes over waffles is my take.
Wow.
Also, what is Spider doing with all of that syrup?
Real.
Like,
he's the person that just drinks syrup, and like Alex's time, just, lathering syrup in. Okay. I want to talk about this spell, though, this powerful spell. Does this relate to Eclipsa using weird magic? And interesting, I think Alex posted a screen cap of this butterfly before it was used to cut off Toffee's finger. Alex, is that right?
Yeah, so like when they were doing the darkest spell situation, like that it looked kind of similar to that. So like I think that I don't know if we want to get into this part, but like April mentioned that there's an episode description for this that doesn't really have to do with what we saw, but it's like says Star and Eclipsa join forces in order to defeat a lethal spell that has gone rogue after two of their spells collide into one another. So like obviously that isn't related at all in this episode, but if it's like related somehow, what if it's Eclipsa's darkest spell has somehow mingled with one of Star's butterfly spells, and that like makes it extra powerful?
Yeah, will we see this spell come up again? Presumably, is this just the like the Harry Potter kill spell? Is that what this is? What's it called again? Right, like that's
Avada Kedavra.
Avada Kedavra, right? That's what it seems to me to be.
That's kind of what it feels like if it just kills whatever. But then I think I agree with the idea that it's the spell that Eclipsa taught Moon to take care of Toffee, because it kills unkillable things, right? So, and it even kills spells, which I guess are living things in this world in their own dimension.
Yeah, so if this is the spell that Moon learns, that maybe the Star learned the spell, is that where we're going? Is Eclipsa using the spell now because the High Commission's noticing weird magic? Like, is Eclipsa killing things on the side? Is someone in the castle killing things?
Well, what if it's like one of those situations where like, and I think this like relates to them like noticing, or the High Commission being like, oh, well, there's like magic being used that hasn't been used in like centuries. Well, again, I think it goes back to that. So it's kind of one of those like you open up the floodgates things. So Eclipsa's back and she's using magic. So she's using magic that hasn't been used in centuries. And so whenever like she got the wand back and started using her magic again, then her spell sort of like took over. And so that was one of her spells that was just sort of like reawoken within the wand, like all the rest of them. It's also interesting that the Seeing Eye spell is now Star's and doesn't reside with all of Eclipsa's, because she learned it from Eclipsa's chapter.
Yeah, I think we'd seen the Seeing Eye in the second episode, but yeah, now that we know that other Eclipsa spells are there, then maybe there's another one. I don't know, but I thought Eclipsa spells were fun, and seeing all the spell, the dynamic between all of them. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this comes into play here. I feel like this is getting into this is Eclipsa evil kind of plotline we're still doing. Is what Eclipsa doing forbidden magic. Eclipsa has this kill spell. All of this seems not good, but she still seems to be fairly innocuous these past few weeks.
Continues to be so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird if we go down that line. It's gonna be weird if like we have a situation where like Eclipsa is evil, but Mina is attacking, but Moon has a human situation going on, and then Star is just like, wait, what do I do here? Like, there's like three different things going on.
And they're all bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like There's a lot of balls being juggled right now, and
yes,
I don't know how. So I still really have no clue on how they're going to connect if they're both going in the direction that we think they're going.
I agree with that. Yeah, we have to be doing some sort of Dark Eclipsa thing, even if she's not like evil per se. Like, we still haven't resolved the Star mistrusting Eclipsa from a few weeks ago. And now we bring in this layer of the High Commission skeptical of Eclipsa, even though the High Commission's not the most reliable. And now we know Eclipsa has a kill spell. Like, I feel like we're pointing towards some sort of revelation here in what she's been doing. Like, it feels purposeful how innocuous she's been presented in the past 2 weeks. Specifically, all she's done has just been knighting people and playing with her baby, and it's like she's doing something in the background here, I think.
Unless she's really not doing anything in the background.
Or someone thinks she's doing something in the background, and then that'll be subverted, and it's like, oh no, I've really just been doing this. But then she'll
do like one thing, and they're like, see, look, she's been evil all along. Like, I just foresee like Mina just coming in and like destroying everybody and everything. And so Eclipsa will obviously have to put her down. And then they're like, but look, Eclipsa's evil. And it's like, yeah, I mean, not really. She put down Mina, who was killing everyone. So, like...
Yeah, it could just be all subverted, yeah. It could be they're purposely, like, leaving these things that could pay off with Eclipsa being evil just to subvert them, and just, like, it's like, okay, everyone thinks she is, but she's not,
She's
and...
really not.
Yeah, I could see that, too. But either way, we're doing something with all this stuff.
Yeah,
watch
Doing
it just
something.
Watch it just be Eclipsa using that butterfly spell to like kill bugs or something around the castle.
Yeah.
It'll all be just a dumb misunderstanding, and then we can move on with our lives.
No, but we still have half a season, so we're going to stretch that misunderstanding into a whole nother plot line that'll be dragged out for 10
Eclipsa
episodes.
starts an extermination business.
That'd be good. Okay.
Well, that should be fun.
She
Yeah.
decides that her true passion is killing bugs.
Yep,
so
that's my filler episode.
she gives up
Okay.
being a queen.
She was gardening in that one episode when she was in jail or whatever.
Yeah, maybe she's using it as like a pesticide.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, well, let's bring in the other. I just remembered that the episode we even talked about has to deal with Eclipsa, too. So let's bring in this to the equation. So Queen napped. We don't have to... Eclipsa kidnapped, but it turns out it's just Ponyhead trying to make her more popular. So there you go. It's Eclipsa's playing biotech VR.
See, my thing is, if we go down the path of Eclipsa is actually evil, then what is the point of all of this? Besides, you can say like, oh, it's to subvert it by like now the people think she's good, so when she does something evil, they'll all be shocked. But then that feels like a waste of time if we started there.
And then we deal with Star being really upset because she believed Eclipsa was good this whole time. And then we still have to do something with the book that Star has.
Yes. That's the main thing that shows that we're doing something with mistrusting Eclipsa. But the point of this episode being that Eclipsa now, we've made her somewhat popular, at least with the people. So this could be being set up to be subverted with her being evil. Yeah. I guess that's the... But this, I mean, we've done this a few episodes now with like her and the Mumin people and being unpopular with them. So I guess this has helped now. So where are we going with this? Leading up to next week, her being popular in her coronation, like people actually like being excited. And then Mina comes in and like they're actually rooting for Eclipsa instead of Mina in this battle or something. I guess
like that. That would be a good episode.
I guess that's it'll immediately pay off the popularity things. Like, whose side are we taking when Mina comes in here? Yeah, because I guess Mina is like this historically, positive figure for humans. I don't know how we thought of her at the end of last season, or like how people even knew about that. But yeah, it's I guess it's like Eclipsa's popularity matters in Moon versus Eclipsa, and they're dueling kind of kingdoms that are growing, which we haven't checked in on Moon yet. And then also Mina coming to attack Eclipsa as well. So yeah, interested how this is gonna play off. I think in a big way next week probably. I think we'll get some traction here next week. Any other thoughts on Queen Napped that we went over very fast? No Larry Keltbottom takes. No.
I'm glad.
Grand return.
I'm so glad we got to see another character that we haven't seen in a while.
Yep.
We say goodbye to him.
Well, one of Ponyhead's last lines is, yes, no consequences for Ponyhead. And that's pretty much her entire character.
Yep,
no consequences for Ponyhead. Hoorah.
She's like a fly in the room that I can't like swat out. You know what I mean?
It's such a good line, though. No consequences.
Marco gets a good joke in about a graveyard being like a mattress store. I gave a soft chuckle at that one.
Wow, high praise for Marco's comedy there. Okay. Soft chuckle. Yeah, there you go. Okay, we needed a Ponyhead show follow-up episode, I think, so that's good.
Sure.
I still kind of like Seahorse in his role.
He's fine.
Yeah. I think that still is kind of funny. I don't know. We saw the siblings. Yeah, that's great. Okay, there you go. Final comments on this week's Star episodes, April.
They were fine. I guess I'm hoping that something happens next week. But I did enjoy these episodes. So don't think that I didn't, viewers of this podcast.
Okay, I'm glad that's cleared up. Alex, final thoughts.
Spell with no name. One thing I didn't mention is just how pretty the episode is. Like going back into the wand is always very colorful, but like I think that the new character designs of Eclipsa's spells were all very interesting. Like one was just a black cat, but like one is like a two-eyed cloud. You got like just a lightning cloud with eyes, and that's like the hypnoslumber. So I think all those designs are very nice. And the scene at the end where like the narwhal is blasting the lights in the dark to catch the butterfly, like that stood out to me as like, ooh, this is cool. And then like it gets chased into the pickle jar. But like I thought that whole scene was done really well. So I think the Spell with No Name stands out as like the most aesthetically pleasing of the episodes I've watched in a while with Star. So yeah, Spell with No Name was nice.
I didn't like the snake regurgitating things.
Oh, I love that. That was great.
Every time he did it, I wanted to just.
I guess that's the representation of the Ouroboros spell, like
I guess.
Probably of the snakes eating each other. Yes, but yeah, going with that, like the rest of the episodes, I think that they all have nice moments in them. Yeah, we got a good deep discussion on like where Starco is right now, and I think so. It's at least in a place where it sparks discussion as opposed to being as frustrating as it's been in previous episodes. So I think that's a step up. And yeah, so more wholesome Starco, please, not tainted by the past, please.
Tainted by the wow. No, Starco's never tainted. Okay,
it was, but now it has been purified into the birth of a long-lasting friendship.
Okay,
while Kelko will live forever.
Yeah, no Kelly this week. So. After strong showings the previous week.
What if Marco is lying about wanting to go back to Earth and he's just like so that way he can spend more time with Kelly?
Wow, that'd be drama. It's not happening.
Yeah, Marco doesn't have the guts to do that, or does he? Well, it's not even guts; it's more cowardice, but which Marco has shown in the past. So,
okay, so we're in on the Kelly thing. Okay, there you go. Sam, final thoughts this week.
Do I ever have any thoughts that are truly final?
That's deep.
Thank you. Yeah, cool. Good episodes. Thumbs up. Can't wait for next week when we will see more episodes with similar characters and maybe some of the same characters.
Okay. Yes, that's true. That is a TV show.
That is what a TV show is. I know.
Okay. Oh, I thought of one more final thought here, because the intro of the show, it has from left to right Janna, Tom, Star, Marco, Kelly. So like now it's in a situation where like there are shifts between all adjacent characters in play right now, because like now we finally have a Jan Tom episode.
Oh
so now we have Jan Tom, we have Tom Star, we have Starco, we have Kelko.
Write some fanfic.
Yeah, right, fanfic.
Ponyhead is left out. He has a ship with nobody.
Well, good.
Get Ponyhead and Seahorse back together. There you go.
Did they ever actually break up?
I don't know. Okay, next week. Next week is three kind of episodes with exciting descriptions, actually, including a boy with his something number, motorcycle number thing. It's a Tom Co episode, apparently. Even though descriptions lied to us this week.
Yeah, I don't trust the descriptions anymore.
The Monster and the Queen and Coronation. So the half-hour coronation. All very exciting stuff next week, and then the week after that is Beach Day. So I think we're into the thick of it now, and only 5 more weeks of Star left. Let us know what you thought of this week's episodes in the comments at overlyanimated.com or on youtube.com/overlyanimated. You can come to our Discord to talk about Star at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, especially our patrons of the podcast, Taylor, a.k.a. Needle. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Beatrice, and Hugh. Yeah, Needle. Does Needle watch the show?
I don't think so.
No.
Needle is very active
from
on
listening
Discord.
to the podcast, though. Yeah, okay. I think he might watch the show. I don't remember, though.
We'll help
okay.
ask.
And we'll ask. Let's Check out other stuff at overlyanimated.com, including Wonder Park podcast recently, DC Superhero Girls, Fruits Basket's regular coverage. We did Victor and Valentina podcast and Miraculous Ladybug. We'll be back for more Star next week. Subscribe to not miss that. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.